Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So a fifth season of The Crown has come and gone. It's taken me a while to review it, which gives you an indication of how I genuinely felt about it, which is not very good, right? Sometimes it's better just to leave things alone, right? In fact, honestly, in hindsight, I'm thinking that was probably true after the end of the second season, right? But the first change of cast did not help the show at all, and maybe they should have renamed it, right, for the second cast. And it seems to me the cast gets what can I say? Lower and lower in quality, and I don't really mean that as critically as it sounds. And likability, as in connectability, the characters in general, with each change of cast. So I think maybe they should have just named this a different show. Maybe the Twilight of the Crown, or the season 3 and 4. Sunrise of the Crown, or something like that, right? The Glory of the Crown. There's things they could have done, right? Because I think these are really fundamentally different shows. Also, the idea to continue is very much a expression of its success, and I think it's a success still of the first two seasons, the Claire Foy, Matt Smith seasons, which were excellent. They were optimistic, they were uplifting. It was really, I think, connected us to the royal family in a very genuine way. And I think the seasons 3 and 4 less so, and seasons 5, probably 6 less so. It's a depressing season as well. This is not a good time for the Queen, right? This is not, which is somebody you've come to, a character. Obviously, it's not the real person, but it's somebody that you've come to love and respect, right? And they're the protagonists. At least they were the protagonists until this season. So, my quick review: is this a recommend to watch? Yeah. It's on Netflix. You're paying Netflix and paying for it anyway. Why not, right? Why not? It is interesting. It's just not as good as it used to be, right? It's not as good as I will say the first two seasons, must-see TV. Second two seasons, I liked a lot, especially season 4, because it was the 80s. That's really my childhood, right? I remember that very well. So this fifth season takes place in the 90s, and in 91, at the end of 91, I left England forever, right? So I wasn't up to date with, I don't really remember a lot of this stuff. Fine, before we get in the review, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are very good. I am grateful for you doing all those things. I am genuinely grateful for you doing all those things. Thank you very much. Listen. If Harry and Meghan irritates you at all, what you can do is hit the subscribe button. It's free, it's easy, and I almost guarantee you, Meghan won't be a fan. And yeah, Meghan doesn't like something, I will probably be on board for it. Right? That's basically how that goes. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Sign up my Substack, my email newsletter. It's all in the video links, baby. Do all those things. Make a rabbi happy today, right? Make a rabbi happy today, and you don't even need to do a hand job. There you go. You're welcome, right? You're welcome. I provide a service for you. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me, if you love the season, let me know. If you hate the season, let me know. If you haven't bothered watching the season, let me know. But the algorithms like to see you commenting, so it's very good. Even if, my Lord Tzvi, I would crown you king if only I could. Well, who wouldn't, baby? Who wouldn't? Something along those lines, right? That's the sort of emotional support I generally can't quite like. Like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up my Substack, sign up my paid Substack, $5 a month, which you get nothing for. Like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. I think everything's covered. I think we covered everything. Let's start talking about The Crown. So, season 5. The first thing we got to talk about is the cast, right? I think that's the most important thing. It's become the defining feature of the changing season. So we had Imelda Staunton as Queen Elizabeth II, who in this I think is somewhat of a supporting character as opposed to a main character, and her journey through this decade was not a happy one, right? Was not a happy one. We start and the end with trying to get the Royal Yacht Britannia upgraded, and renovated, and we end with the absolute failure of that, right? Next we have Jonathan Pryce's Prince Philip. I don't know. I don't really see it, right? He never struck me as this type of person, especially not very nice person from what I could tell. Whereas I liked him with Matt Smith, and I understood him somewhat as, I can't remember who it was in seasons 3 and 4. But he wasn't in it much, and he had star quality to add to it, but I don't think his presence was. I don't think it worked, right? I don't think it worked at all. We got Leslie Manville as Princess Margaret. She's in it for like 10 seconds. I don't even remember seeing her. She's kind of in the background a lot. You get Vanessa Kirby as young Princess Margaret at one point. Dominic West is the person we need to talk about. Dominic West is a great actor, a fantastic actor, who plays Prince Charles and looks nothing like Prince Charles, right? It takes you a good number of episodes before you can imagine his face being Prince Charles's face, and you feel like you've got a bit of realism to it. Like you feel like you're getting connected to the character. And certainly he made other characters. He made Prince Charles seem a much more, or King Charles, I should say, much more sympathetic, which I think is probably true, right? I think it's probably true. Like the ongoing theme of The Crown, other than duty, is one should really marry for love, right? That's really important. And if you don't, things will always work out badly. But again, we're going to be seeing that. Then there's who is it? Who played Diana? Elizabeth Debicki as Diana. A lot of people really didn't like her. I really did. I thought she was excellent, right? I think she really captured 90s Diana. I thought that was good. Queen Mother played by Marsha Warren, not good at all. Too old, too thin, too frail. Nothing like her at all. I didn't seem to capture anything about her. Who else we got? Claudia Harrison as as Anne, Octavia Williams as Camilla. I don't know much about Camilla, but I think it was. I think she was fine, right? I didn't notice her. And then finally, Johnny Lee Miller as John Major. Now, this. Okay, when they did Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher, she looked and sounded exactly like Margaret Thatcher, although I found it very confusing because I found her very, very sexy. And I think Margaret Thatcher is the inverse of sexy, right? Is the anti-sexy. But at least she looked and sounded exactly like Margaret Thatcher. Johnny Lee Miller, who on the piece of shit Sherlock show, Elementary, apparently finished, thank God, on, what was it, in America, did not strike me as John Major. John Major does not strike me as a heroic figure. His spitting image puppet was very accurate. I remember just as I was leaving England, right? They had a spitting image. They were doing this thing called The Making of Major, how John Major became Prime Minister, and they had a segment in the 60s where he dropped acid. Right, they took LSD, if you don't know what I mean. And then you have this thing where it's like it's always in black and white, and he says this psychedelic thing, but it's in black and white. He said, look at all the colours, dark grey, light grey, medium grey. Like here he's like this dashing romantic figure, and no, no. That's not how I ever saw John Major, right? Blimey, he was Prime Minister for 7 years before getting his ass handed to him by, who was it? Tony Blair. And the Tony Blair looks nothing like Tony Blair either, right? It's nice to see Timothy Dalton taking over Peter Townsend's role as... Timothy Dalton as Peter Townsend taking over the role played by Ben Miles as they reconnected for an episode. So that's basically the overview of the cast. I would say 10% less successful than before, right? So episode 1, the Queen Victoria Syndrome. It doesn't start off well for the Queen, right? It doesn't start off well for the Queen. 91, there's a thing comes out in saying the Queen's too old and needs to move on, and Charles is trying to work out how to get her out, essentially, and that's the story of the season. And basically, the collapse of the power of the royal family. It opens with Claire Foy and the launching of the royal yacht in 1951. and then in '91 they take a 2-week cruise, while Diana and Charles travel to Italy for their second honeymoon. Diana is annoyed that he has invited cousins Norton and he does. Here's the thing. And this is, again, if this is in any way accurate, he just never liked Diana, right? I think he tried to make a go of it. I think he genuinely tried to make a go of it, but he just didn't like her. And he was in love with Camilla, you know. And I can't imagine what it would be like, right? Like I can't imagine, and it was not, I don't think it was childish infatuation love, but it was actually a genuine deep love that had gone for years and years and years. I can't imagine trying to put that aside to start out of Jodie have a marriage with somebody else. You're always gonna compare them to the person you actually love, right? And they're never gonna be compared well. So he just got pissed off with her essentially, and he was also vain and petty. You know, he didn't like her being taking the limelight, and so that's how he ended up back with Camilla, right? That's the vibe I got out of that. And then John Major's introduced, right? And this last season, it was very strongly intimated she really didn't like Margaret Thatcher at all. Okay, so the system is. There's a little subplot. That's the episode 2. There's a little subplot with Prince Philip having this weird cult-like group of people who like carriage drive racing, and befriending a grieving mother, I think. And it's just more about the the Diana Charles feud. It's growing and growing and growing. Episode 3 is Mau Mau. It was so this introduces Jodie Alphaez. I think introduced that. This was one of the best bits of the season for me. Right, I really kind of enjoyed that. I liked his take on it. I liked Chariots of Fire, the whole Chariots of Fire connection. And you can see how he's setting up the Diana to be with his son, right? Which ultimately leads to their death, which I think leads to him spending the rest of his life trying to prove it was an assassination, right? Which could well be, right? Anna's Horribilis is episode 4. This is a Margaret episode where she gets a letter from Peter Townsend, now played, as I said, by what's his name, James Bond, Timothy Dalton. I'm reading the Wikipedia synopsis at the same time. It's very sweet, right? It's very sweet. Andrew asks Elizabeth permission to separate after compromising photos of his wife are published. Oh yeah, this is when I was going. Andrew is just, I have to tell you, he feels like he's been very fucked over in real life, right? I understand he slept with a prostitute. He slept with many prostitutes. She seemed to be quite happy to sleep with him. I don't know what he was supposed to do, right? I mean, okay, not sleep with prostitutes is probably a good idea, but I don't think, he's been, lambasted as a paedophile rapist, and it's just not the case at all, right? He's somebody who slept with a prostitute who didn't want to be a prostitute. I don't think that's on him, right? And again, if you want to say there should be no exploitation, I'm with you 100%, right? 100%. I just don't think it's right to pick out just one particular person. We should treat everybody equally. If there's not one standard of justice, there's no justice, right? So that's kind of how I feel. By episode 5 of The Way Ahead, Charles and Diana separate. Senior royals create an informal group of advisors to find ways to improve the monarchy's image. The group comes up with only minor measures. The tabloid newspaper publishes transcripts of an intimate call between Charles and Camilla. Yeah, not the best idea from 3 years earlier. To improve his public image, he has a document. He participates in an ITV documentary. Not Martin Bashir. Then it upstages him the night of the premiere by attending in an outfit dubbed by the media revenge dress. Diana reports to senior royals following a meeting with Charles, stating that he is emerging from the scandal stronger than ever and is setting up a okay, whatever. Imative House. So this is an interesting one. I quite like this one. This is when Boris Yeltsin comes to visit England, and now I do remember more about this one. It was an interesting one, and I felt very inappropriately violent episode. I forgot how much I was like really jarred by this, because it starts off with the massacre of the Romanovs, the Russian royal family. And it is ridiculously graphic and unnecessarily graphic. I mean, you have like these young girls crying as they're beaten to death on bare naked. It's horrible, right? It's absolutely horrible, and I see no reason for that at all. It was I think it was a real tonal mistake to do that. And I understand they want you to feel how terrible the crime was. I get it, but I just don't think it was such a massive tonal shift. It didn't really work. And again, through these episodes, the Queen has barely been seen. She is a supporting character, right? No woman's land. Prince William begins attending Eton College. Diana struggles with separation and changing relationship with the son. Martin Bashir, the guy playing him, was perfect, right? What piece of shit he turned out to be. Cons him into an interview. I'm really glad they made Martin Bashir look out to be the piece of shit that he was. Yes, I'm quite happy about that. Episode 8, Gunpowder. Diana and Khan continue their relationship. Yeah, Diana's really into anybody Indian, right? She really gets off them being Indian, because I think that's how Martin Bashir used that as well. The interview goes ahead. There's quite a good meeting between the Queen and Diana, and I don't know how real this is. And the Queen's like, "We don't hate you. We just want you to be happy. Will you shut up, you crazy bitch?" Essentially. Couple 31 is episode 9. It goes into and I think in a clever way, goes into the intricacies of getting divorced in England, which seems to be somewhat as archaic. You see other couples in the divorce procedure too. It's sad, really. It shows you how sad divorce really is. And then the final episode, Decommissioned. Tony Blair wins in a landslide. Yeah. Right man, right place. And very, very sadly, Britannia is decommissioned. Mohammed Al-Fayed takes Diana to a holiday Saint-Tropez. Saint-Tropez, as Charles oversees the handover of Hong Kong, right? So they see a nice juxtaposition, but it ends with the decommissioning of Britannia, and it just feels depressing, right? It feels depressing because it was depressing. It is a depressing story, right? Where I found the first 2 seasons to be uplifting, the second 2 seasons to be historically interesting. This one I found a downer with people that didn't really convince me were playing the roles, right? So I don't think it was great, right? I don't think this one really worked out. We have another season of it, right? Again, it's a victim of its own success. It's a shame the Queen isn't a central figure in this. And I think, if they did more seasons, it's just going to get more depressing. You had so many things deeply upset the Queen as her life fell apart, and which is horrible, right? Because we saw with last year with her funeral, just how beloved she was. What an incredibly beloved public figure she was, and for good bloody reason, right? I mean, absolutely for good bloody reason. She gave her entire life for public service. Listen, it's just a shame what the last 30 years have been like. Honestly, it's just a shame what the last 30 years have been like. I was saying the last 5 years have been a bit rough for the Queen, about last 30 years. So yeah, we're going to have, I guess, the whole Andrew stuff. We're going to, I can't even remember what happens in the 2000s, right? It's too long ago. I remember Diana being killed. But again, I think that's really covered in the movie The Queen, which is, I think, by the same people. So it seems a bit of a waste, right, to me. But it's successful. Being a victim of your own success is a bad thing, right? Which I think but you could say the same thing about the Queen as well. There you go. So that's season 5. I guess we got season 6 next year. Hopefully we won't see season 7 or 8. If we do, they'll be much, much, much better. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.